So the first thing that I did is I brought up the Hammer EQ from Kush Audio. This is one of my all-time favorite mastering grade EQs that I love to use for snares, kicks, toms, anything of the sort. So the first thing that I did is I boosted a little bit of 1.2K around 4 dB just to introduce a little bit of snap into this kick drum. And then following that, I maxed out 10K by 12 dB. This is just gonna bring a little bit of extra air and presence into this kick drum. And then following this, I brought a little bit of the custom series equalizer from Slate Digital. So the first thing I did is I maxed out 15K by 10 dB. I boosted 2K by 4 dB. And then I cut 600 Hertz by 2 dB. The reason I cut 600 here is just to cut back on any of that unnecessary mid-range boxiness that I didn't really want to have incorporated with this kick drum. And then to make up for any of these EQ moves, I did a little bit of makeup gain by -4 dB. And then following this, I incorporated a little of the Pro Q3 from FabFilter. So I did a little bit of a high pass at 30 Hertz. I boosted 40 Hertz by 2.8 dB. This is just to bring a little bit of low end into this kick drum. And then I got rid of any unnecessary low mids around 127 Hertz by -4 dB. And then I found when I was placing this kick within the mix, there was this really unnecessary ring that was going on that was kind of annoying within the mix, so I wanted to cut that, and that was around the 273 Hertz, and I cut that by 4 dB as well. And one thing I really like to do with a lot of my kick drums is cut the 300 to 400 Hertz range. I find that this region does a really great job of allowing your kick to sit a little bit more freely within the mix. So I cut 322 Hertz by -7 dB. And then finally, there was another ring that I didn't really want to be heard within the mix. So I cut that with a narrow Q right around 2K by -10 dB. And one of my all-time favorite compressors for kick drums and snares specifically is the Twigchild 670 from Waves. I love this plugin because it not only incorporates compression, but it also does a really great job of incorporating a little bit of saturation. And generally for me with this specific plugin, I only shoot to get 1 to 2 dB of reduction. And then following this, I have another compressor that I like to use called the MJUC from Klanghelm. The one thing to note with this specific compressor is it's really important to use your ears instead of your eyes. So I have compress at 19.8, I have density, high ratio, and eye stage engaged. The attack is at 7.6 and the recovery, which is the release, is at 2. Typically for kick drums, I typically shoot to have a slower attack and a faster release. This incorporates a little bit extra snap within your kick drum. And it's also important to note that I have the dry and wet mix at 75%. And the final plugin that I'm using in this chain is the Virtual Tape Machines from Slate Digital. I really love this plugin because it incorporates a little bit of extra saturation as well as accentuating a little bit of the low end in a really desirable way.